マサイトズロック TV。
もう約17年くらい日本に来ていないということなんですけど、なんでこんなに時間かかっちゃったんでしょうか。
Yeah, 17 years, hard to explain. We had, of course, when Max left the band, we had to cancel the Japanese tour.
Yeah.
We had the tour booked for the Roots tour in Japan, in Australia for the big day out, and Max left the band in December. So we have to cancel everything, and I think a lot of people blamed only Sepultura for that. You know, I don't know what they expected. We were in no condition, you know, to find somebody else during those time. We lost not only the singer, but we lost the management. We lost the whole structure of Sepultura. So we need time really to rebuild everything. And then we have problems, you know, changing different managers and record labels, and so it took a while to finally put everything together. We have a management company, we have a great lineup, a great label, a great album, and a label here in Ward, you know, that it's making everything possible again, you know. So it took a long time, but we're very happy that we finally here again, you know, to do the show in Tokyo. The new album is very positive, it's very good for us all over, and we can't wait, you know, to go on stage, you know, really happy to be here.
アンドレアスも元気かなと思ってずっと最近バンドどうしてんのかななんて思ってる矢先にリオオリンピックの時なんか閉会式出てましたよね。あれどういうきっかけで出ることになったんですか。
That was an honor, you know, to be a part of it, and you know, I guess Brazil had the opportunity to show all the Brazilian differences in culture and music. You know, the opening ceremony for the Olympics. It showed a lot of the, you know, the samba, the bossa nova, and other styles of music, and the new funk from Rio de Janeiro, funk carioca, and everything. And I was very happy that finally at the end, you know, the closing ceremony of the Paralympics, they finally gave room to rock, you know, to rock and roll, to heavy metal, and they called me to play together with another guitar player, and we did a mixture of a music from the northeast of Brazil, from Bahia, which is a guitar player who played like a small guitar. It's called guitarra baiana or baiana guitar, and Sepultura music, you know. So it was a great opportunity to show to the world that Brazil also respects, you know, heavy metal in that sense, and I was very happy to be a part of it, and so honored, you know, in the Maracanã Stadium. Was a beautiful ceremony. And especially in the Paralympic Games, you know, people are very, you know, I didn't see too much people complaining about, you know, stuff, you know, because people with no arms, with no legs, and you know, everything, they were so happy to be there, so, you know, very positive vibrations and everything. It was a very great environment, you know, to be a part of it, and it's great, you know, that Sepultura was respected in that way, you know. It was great.
今そのブラジルはすごくそのヘビーメタルリスペクトしててどうのこうのとおっしゃったけど、それもやっぱりセパルトラが登場してからのことでしょ。やっぱりセパルトラの影響っていうのはとても大きいんじゃないかと思うんですけど、どうですか。
I think so. Yeah, there's a little bit of both, you know, because you see all the great heavy metal bands. It can be Black Sabbath or Metallica or Megadeth or Slayer, and all the smaller heavy metal bands that came down to Brazil. They always has a great crowd, you know, sold out shows in big stadiums and everything. And the metal festivals are really big, like Monsters of Rock and Rock in Rio, and the Heavy Metal Day and stuff. And of course Sepultura, you know, taking the name of Brazil out with our style of music. And it is a country that respects every type of music, basically. We have room for everything, you know. Of course, the main media always goes for the most popular or the pop music or that kind of stuff. But the underground scene, it's very strong, you know. The fans are very faithful. It's great that they like to buy the official stuff. They don't spend money on bootlegs and stuff, you know. So it's great that they keep the movement, you know, the heavy metal movement very strong, you know. So I think there's a little bit of both, you know. Brazil really loves heavy metal, and of course Sepultura represents, you know, Brazil all over the world. So I think that's why we got that opportunity as well.
さっきそのリオオリンピックのところでそのブラジルの音楽の多様性ということを言ってらっしゃいましたけど、まあ、いろんな民族がいるってこともあると思うんですけども、それをヘビーメタルの中で世界で初めてそういういろんなものを取り入れたのはセパラトラだと思うんですよ。それ以降じゃないですか、いろんなそのミクスチャーと言われる音楽が出てくるの。その辺どうなんでしょうか。
Oh, that's great. You know, we had this idea of using our own rhythms and instruments, and that happened because we started traveling outside Brazil. You know, we saw Brazil because when we used to live in Brazil, we used to hate all that Brazilian music and samba and carnival and all that stuff. You know, we always were more interested in stuff from outside. You know, the music from Europe and the States, the heavy metal albums and etc. But once we start traveling, you know, we saw that Brazil was very unique, very special. It was a country that had a certain style of music and percussion that was very characteristic from Brazil, and it's very heavy. You know, if you have the opportunity to go to see the carnival parades in February, you can feel the drums. You know, they assemble like 200, 300 people playing together. It's fantastic, so heavy, you know, so beautiful. And slowly we start using those elements in our music. You know, it was not that very difficult, you know, to mix because both are very heavy, very loud. And on Roots, I think was the album that we really went very deep on it. You know, we went to the Chavantes tribe to work with the Indian tribe in Brazil. We called the percussionist Carlinhos Brown, which was a professional percussionist to help us, you know, to arrange and to play together with us. And since then, basically, since Roots, we have this element on our music. I mean, Derek came into the band in '98, 20 years ago, and he started playing guitar, but he soon left the guitar and really were more focused on percussion, you know. So now he plays a lot more percussion on the stage, and it fits very well with our music. And it is Brazilian, you know. There's something that we denied before. We learned how to embrace and how to use it in our own way.
デレクが入っても長いんですけども、セパルトラって常に同じとこにいないで変化し続けるバンドですよね。あなたが入ってからのセパルトラの音楽的な変化を、デレクはどう見てますか？
I think there's been so many different things that have been going on surrounding us, from touring and playing with so many different bands and having influences from all those different aspects have add to the evolution of the band. It's something very natural, I think, was happening before I even entered the band, the evolution of the band. It's something from each individual gives to Sepultura. I think each person is changing in their own family, within the band. And I think it's just a natural process as an artist to really evolve and want to transform into something different or something they never imagined. And I think it's an important process to be relevant. And I think it's a big reason why the band is still existing today.
ニューアルバムは素晴らしいんだけども、アンドレアスね、今までセパレトラがやってきたことを全部まとめながら、それを未来系で語ってるっていうのかな、そういうアルバムだと思うんですけど、今ニューアルバムについてどう思ってますか？
That's right, Masaito. It's perfect. No, I think the album it really is like that. You know, we wrote the album like the old days. You know, respecting the limits of the vinyl. You know, side A, side B, and it gave us a little bit of that old school vibes. You know, to write a strong, different song on, you know, to open the album, a very special song to close the side A, an instrumental song. You know. Eloy Casagrande joined the band. It's the second album that we do with him, and he brought a lot of new elements and new possibilities. It's a drummer who not only can play, you know, heavy, but he has a lot of groove, as all the, you know, the Brazilian musicians have naturally, you know. So we are exploring all the elements that we have, you know. I think Derek was saying that when he came into the band, you know, he was always free to bring his influence, you know. He has a different background, you know, more hardcore. He comes from a different place, a different country, and Eloy as well, you know. So everyone that came into the band brings something new to the band, and we like to explore there instead of just putting somebody else there to try to copy somebody in the past, you know. And I think Machine Messiah, we really got to a point that everything was in place. You know, we have a great management going on, not only in Brazil, but, you know, with representation in Europe and the States. We have a great record label, Nuclear Blast. This for the lineup, you know, is already 7-8 years old. So it's very tight, it's very connected to each other. And I think we went to the studio really with our minds really clear to focus on music instead of all the bullshit of politics and, you know, the bureaucratic stuff with the labels and managers. So that helped us a lot really to focus on music and really explore what we wanted to do. You know, we want to really to explore our musical side, you know. I wanted to do well thought leads, you know. I spent a lot of time really working, building the leads and every little detail. I think Jens Bogren as well, the producer, was a fantastic choice because he really completed the team. He understands what Sepultura coming from and what we wanted to do, and he was perfect on expressing the music we wanted to do, you know. For instance, the violins, that is an orchestra from Tunisia, was his suggestion, you know, to use the violins. He used with bands before and stuff, so he felt that there was a room in some songs that we could use that, and we are never scared, you know, to try things, and everything we tried for this album worked. You know, it seems that every crazy idea that we had really worked, and the album cover as well was an artist from the Philippines that I found on the internet and stuff, which was very new, you know, very different from everything else. So I think it helps when we have everything in place, really to put our mind and focus on everything artistically about the album, you know. So I think that happened with Machine Messiah, and the result is fantastic, you know. It's like we finally here, you know. I think that's a great stamp, you know, a great mark that we went everywhere. We toured with Creator, with Testament. We did all the festivals around the world. We did a headline tour in Europe. We just came from New Zealand and Australia, and finally we're here in Tokyo, you know. So I think this album is doing very, very good for us.
今イエンス・ボグランの話出ましたけど、イエンスってまあ確かにそのバイオリンだとかそのバンドに今までなかったものを取り入れて、それをうまくそのバンドのスタイルにまとめるの上手ですね。最近僕もここ数年イエンス・ボグランの仕事ですごいなと思うんですけど、どういうプロデューサーなんですか、彼は。
Yeah, I think Derek was the one who suggested Jens, you know, because we wanted to find somebody different, and Sweden was always a great influence in our music. From ABBA, from Malmsteen, from Entombed, and, you know, from all different bands, you know, that from there. And Jens also worked with Creator, with Moonspell, with Angra, with many bands that we knew, and we talked to them, and everybody was really saying very positive stuff about Jens, you know, and he was very excited to work with us, you know, and why do you...
Yeah, I mean, he's a very confident producer, which really is great to be around. He's very sure of himself, and so when he brings that element to the circle of what we were doing and giving him all the demos and everything, he was really on point when we got to the studio and there was time to go. He knew every song, he knew the notes, you know, he knew where things were placed, and so it was easy to communicate with them. And I think we felt very confident as individuals to do our parts, so we could sit there and just you know, really focus on what we need to do. But I think that confidence is something that's really great to be around. You know, we were at that level, and it made it stronger being around Jens. Of him wanting to, you know, master or to do every aspect of the album. You know, he did not want to let it go, and he was just very dedicated and very focused, and that made for us wanting to have that same feeling, that vibe, and so it all came together in such a force, you know, a really strong force.
さっきちょっとドラムの話がちょっと出てましたけどね、やっぱりこのバンドに他のメタルバンドと根本的に違うのは、セパルトラの場合やっぱり多様性に満ちたビートっていうのかな、グルーブってのがこのバンドの持ち味じゃないですか。ドラマーとしてはその新しいものを持ち込むのとっても難しいと思うんですよ。ドラマーはどういうものをこのバンドに新しいエッセンスとして持ち込んだっていうふうに考えてますか？
Actually, it was not difficult. I think because it was like Andreas told us, it's like was a natural process of everything. We really like to respect what we are doing now. So I used to play a lot of Brazilian music before I play with Sepultura, and I think Sepultura opens a lot of new possibilities of creation. You know, you can go like through all the different elements. You can have thrash metal, death metal, groove metal, samba music, country music. It's something that's really global, you know, so that you don't have a limit of creation. You can go like far and behind all the limits, like through all the limits. So, and that's something that I always felt in the band. I had total freedom to do whatever I wanted to do. I mean, like we are always open to new possibilities, to go, like, take new places, new paths, and that's it.
I mean, we had 3 drummers, you know, Igor Cavalera, and then Gian Dolabella, and Eloy. And even when we did the tour with Roy Mayorga, which is with Stone Sour now, he had that Cuban heritage, you know, that which is Brazil and Cuba are very known for percussionists and drummers, you know. So for us, it was very important and crucial to have a Brazilian there, you know. Of course, we know musicians all over the world and stuff, but for us, you know, we need to have this natural, because you cannot learn that in school, you know, either born in Brazil and grow up there and learn how to deal with that. As I told you, you know, we used to hate samba and all that, but we know, you know, it's natural for us. Everywhere you go in Brazil in a party, you have, you know, music, and you have people dancing and playing and stuff. So even though we didn't like, you know, it's very natural for us, you know. So I think it's important that we have, especially the drummer, you know, to have that natural groove inside, you know. It's not something that you're gonna learn in school, but you're gonna have that naturally.
それはベースも同じじゃないですかね。ドラムと同じようにベースの側面からそのセパレトナに新しいそのなんだろうグルーブをそうベーシストとして持ち込むということについてはベーシストはどう思ってるんでしょうか。
Just follow this guy. It's already hard enough. No, I think you know, the bass wise is just more than to complete what the whole sound of the band is, you know, just of course there's a little details. You have to sometimes follow the path of the drums, and sometimes you have to fill it up with the guitars to make the sound be very unique, you know. It's a very unique and different path for me, so I try to do a little bit of both and make the band sound good.
And heavy, man.
ヘビーねまあそのニューアルバムねすごくそのヘビーで爆発的なエネルギーがあるんだけども聴きやすいんですよ。すごい不思議。大体こういうものってのはすごくこうザクザクした音で何回も3回も聴くの辛いんだけど、今度のアルバムってもう本当に聴きやすいじゃないですか。いろんなそのソリッドな要素もありヘビーな要素もあり綺麗な要素もあり、これはやっぱりそのイエンス・ボーグレンのマジックなんでしょうか、それともバンドが目指したことなんでしょうか。
It is the kind of sound the band was heading for, and you know, songs like Machine Messiah, for instance, that opens the album. It's very melodic, you know, with a slow groove with slow leads and stuff, and very melodic. Not only the vocals, but everywhere, you know, and a song like Phantom Self, for instance, you know, try to use more of the different Brazilian rhythms, like that from the northeast of Brazil, and you have the groove, you have the percussion. I Am the Enemy, more trashy, you know, the Iceberg Dances. It's a tribute to the great instrumental songs from, you know, Metallica, Iron Maiden, and Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath, all those great bands that it's very traditional in metal to have that instrumental piece over there, you know. So and since the start we wanted to have that type of album, you know, with a very specific characteristic for each song, you know, to build something that you're gonna listen from start to end. And it's great that the fans are really doing that, you know, they're listening everything, and it is like an opera, let's say, you know. Machine Messiah is the great overture, you know, the great beginning, which shows a little bit of what's going on in the album, but also shows what's going on here, you know, what's coming next, you know. They create some type of expectation, you know, and anxiety, which is great. And Jens Bogren, of course, came and we explained to him. He listened to the demos. We explained to him what we wanted to achieve, what we wanted to sound, and he was, really put everything together. Every time we were ready to record the drums, we listened to the song, we made changes here and there, cut and add and stuff like that together with him. And then he mixed the album, he mastered the album, so he knew everything where to put it in the perfect place, the violins and the leads and the vocals, everything. So I think it was a mixture of both, what we really wanted to achieve and the great, amazing job of Jens, who really understood what we wanted to have. And because our previous album, The Mediator, Between Head and Hands Must Be the Heart, was very different, because we worked with Ross Robinson, which is a totally different producer, very noisy, a lot of effects, and he's a producer who is more like a spiritual than more technical, let's say, And Jens, although he has that spiritual soul part, he's very technical, very keen to details, and we can listen to that, on the album. So it's great to work with Ross, and it's great to work with Jens, and both albums are very different. But I think without Mediator, I think Machine Messiah, could be totally different. Let's say. But I think it was a part of a process, to work with Ross and then work with a guy like Jens.
さっき同じようなこと言いましたけど、セパラトラの歴史を考えてみると、セパラトラって同じアルバム作ったことないですよね。そういう意味では全然タイプは違うけど、レッド・ゼッペリンと似てますよ。だって同じアルバムを絶対作んないもん。これってポリシーなんでしょうか、そうじゃなく自然とそうなってるんでしょうか。
I think it's this, I think again it's both, even if we try to do the same, we wouldn't do it. It's very difficult to try to reproduce. I think Judas Priest, let's say, he has like, Screaming for Vengeance and Defenders of the Faith, which is kind of the same cover, and still they're very different sounding albums, and for us, we respect that, because every tour, every album we put out, we do a tour of 2 or 3 years, and that changes things. You play songs, and some songs works better live, others don't work as much, and we have a better idea where to go after we play so much of the new stuff. And on this tour, we're playing a lot of the new album, I think since Chaos AD in '94, we didn't play so many new songs on a new tour. Not even Roots, we play so many songs, and so it's great to have that challenge, to put those songs, which was very demanding to record, acoustic guitar and many leads and and percussion and everything, and it's working great live, so who knows what we're gonna do next, but I think Machine Messiah will be a force very important, to write the next one. I think we're gonna be very much influenced by everything that Machine Messiah gave us, and especially the touring, and let's see, we like to let things flow a little bit as well. Of course, we have a planning, we have something that we aim, we have an objective, but at the same time we leave things more freely, especially in the studio, to have room for improvisation and write new stuff. But I think it's a balance of both, not really too concerned about the plan, but at the same time not to be too loose that we don't have a direction.
まあ日本公演では新しいアルバムからいっぱいやるんだと思うんですけどね。もちろん日本ですから、あの曲は絶対やるということでいいんですね。
Ask him.
Derek.
For us, it's easy song, let's say, but for him,
Short.
That song, I mean, honestly, was the most difficult song to do on the album. Hands down. It was the last song recorded on the album. And it was really mind-blowing to me, because I had no idea how to pronounce or know what the meaning of a lot of the words were. It had to be explained to me piece by piece. And then putting it together with somebody there, like, no.
Jens was found a Japanese guy, because Oregon is a university town, so there's people all around the world. And this guy came and was very helpful.
He was a Japanese student going to school in Sweden.
That's perfect.
And so it was perfect. So I thought too. And so we sat down in the studio, and it wasn't perfect. It was really challenging, though. But I was so happy when it was completed. And he was like, yes, it's sounding I can
Yeah.
understand this. Yes, it's working.
Perfect.
And I was like, oh my God, thank you. But no.
No.
Unfortunately, this time around, no. But eventually, it would be great to do that, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to do that.
Record company said to prompt for
Yes.
Stop it!
Yes.
No more ideas.
Alright. じゃあ最後に日本のファンに一人ずつメッセージをお願いします。
Japan, we're so happy to be here. It's been a long time. 17 years is too long. But we're very happy to be here to play our new stuff and all the history of Sepultura. And hopefully this will be a visit that we're going to come sooner than later. I think our aim is to, every album, at least to come to Japan and play the tour. But thank you very much for all the support throughout these years, all you guys that stayed with us, and see you soon.
Derek?
Yes, it's an honor to always be back here. I'll never forget all the moments that we've had here. And I want to thank every one of you that have been supporting the band for so many years. And hopefully we'll see you again every time that we come here. And it's a wonderful place, wonderful culture, always fascinating. And it's a pleasure and an honor to be here. Thank you again.
Oh, 2 days is not enough.
Sure.
It's one more show, but it's a great honor to have the chance to come back. It's been too long, and I always had good memories since the first time we were here, and we wish that we can come very often, more often. Don't take another 17 years to come back and eat a lot of sushi, of course.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to be here for the first time with Sepultura, and I can't wait to feel the Japanese energy at the show. I think it's going to be incredible, and I can't wait for that. It's going to be such a great experience. And of course, we need to come back like a few more times. It's going to be great. Thank you.
アドバイスしますけども、セブンをやってですね、日本人に歌わせてセブンのとこだけみんな歌うってどうですか？
That's a good idea.
That's good.
Maybe you could find a.
We have a few hours to learn the song.
You could ask somebody from the opening band, to join us on stage and do something.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Good idea.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
$10.
Excellent. I like this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.